have time to f*** around.
We shall be perfect.
Hey Nuke Knights, it's round of 8 time again. Oh, sorry. 8. There we go. And we're starting it off with a matchup you've seen before in the round of 8. Last season, in fact. This is Fantasy versus Hyuk. Team matchup, SK Telecom T1 dudes facing off against each other yet again in the OSL. Yeah, team matchups are never fun for the team players. As you can tell, these guys are stone-faced. No smirking at all. Although Hyuk is always stone-faced. If someone told Hyuk the funniest joke in the world, the corner of his mouth would move up like a millimeter, be like, eek. But you'd need a magnifying glass to see it. But we are going to start off on Pathfinder, and it should be interesting. Now, this round of 8 is very interesting, but here we go. SK Telecom T1 will be playing a final this week unless it gets delayed again. Here we go. Except, down at the 5 o'clock position in blue is Fantasy, unless Hyuk has switched race. Nope, that's Fantasy. That means down at the 8 o'clock position in red is Hyuk. Scouting up. I don't see any cheese yet from Hyuk. Alright. Yes, I've had a good day today, man. Great day. Went out to get my car inspected. I drive up, and this kid comes out, covered in grease. He's like, "Oh, it's going to be 6 hours, sir." And me being the person that I am, I'm like, okay. Threw him the keys, just wandered around the city for a while. Went to the mall, bought a present for my mom. I was going to get food at the mall. I was walking by over to Sbarro's. And as I was on my way to Sbarro's, the Chinamax guy intercepted me. He yelled at me. He's like, "You try tomato chicken." I was like, whoa, okay. So I walk over scared. He hands me tomato chicken. I try it. It's awesome. I slap down my $6. Piles on the fried rice. Oh man, it was sweet. Then I had some time left. Went to see Captain America. And then my car was done. It didn't take 6 hours. That kid was a freaking liar. I bet it was his first day on the job. Yeah, he did have the Simpsons pimple-faced teen voice, as I did earlier. It was exactly like that. Then I drove home, got a milkshake. Oh, so sweet. And now I'm here watching StarCraft. Couldn't ask for a better day, really. But it seems that Hyuk going to throw down his 12 hatch. There are some white dudes in the audience with Korean writing. I'm impressed. He probably got his Korean friend to write that for him. But okay. Let's check out the build from Fantasy on the other side. Let's see if he's going to expo early. Hyuk is finally going to spot where he's at. I don't see the barracks anywhere, so this is probably going to be a 14cc, perhaps, from Fantasy. We'll have to take a look at that again, as some guy is showing off his Aerosmith tickets or something. I don't know what's going on here. Get that off. Off the screen. Hey! More foreigners. Man, a lot of foreigners in the crowd today. But yeah, this is a 14cc from Fantasy. Uh-oh. So the third hatchery coming up for Hyuk. It looks like he is actually anticipating this, going 3 hatch before your spawning pool. Usually the good counter to this. But let's get some predictions from the Nuke Knights. Oh, support from China. Man, a lot of foreigners today. Everyone in the audience is not Korean. But speaking of people who are not Korean, I don't think many Korean people watch my channel. I think a few do. I'm pretty sure a few do. I'm not sure why, but they do. I got quite a few predictions, so let's start reading them off. Since they went for macro builds, they're not going to attack each other for a little while, at least. So okay, here's a prediction from Phantom034 writes, Fantasy will do the wackiest of all strategies and will use the infamous one-base battlecruiser build from the 2010 Bacchus OSL at least twice in the same series. That was a spectacular build. One base battlecruiser. He's not lying, for those of you who didn't watch that game against Calm. One base battlecruiser. That's all I gotta say about that. And the factory already from Fantasy. This is what I expected from him, actually. He had such success with mech on this map last season. Of course, the last season was quite a long time ago now, but he did have quite a bit of success against, I think Hydra was the main Zerg he faced on Pathfinder. Went for straight up mech. And of course, Fantasy, knowing Fantasy, you know he wants to get that vulture harassment as soon as he possibly can. If he doesn't go straight up mech, we're going to have to see if he puts down the armory or not and goes full on Goliath mech, which I think he did against Hydra on this map last season. Almost positive that he did that. That seems to be his favorite little build on this map. But Hyuk is probably wise to this, since he did put down his third hatchery so soon, allowing himself to drone up a little bit quicker. We have the second factory on the way, and the armory for Fantasy. So Fantasy might not even have that much vulture harassment to open this game up. But we are going to see the action heat up soon. So let's get a few more predictions. That's a very long list of predictions. Thunder3467 writes, OMG, a TVT final would be glorious. Flash versus Fantasy. Smiley face. Go Fantasy! Another one from Lupus9 writes, oh, there's the first vulture, so we are going to have some vulture harassment. But I doubt the vulture is going to be able to sneak by that sunken colony at the front. Yep, the sunken colony gets rid of the scout, and Fantasy is probably going to try to sneak by. I don't know how successful this is going to be. If he manages to sneak by inside of this main, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He might wait until he gets vulture speed or a second vulture, but he's not going to be able to do it right now. Here's another prediction from Lupus9 writes, Hyuk is the impersonation of an overlord. Just look at his facial expression. He might seem slow and helpless, but his strength is the dropping of Zerg troops on your head, so Fantasy better bring an umbrella. Nice. And there's a Charon booster upgrade, researching at the machine shop, and Fantasy's just taking out this egg at the front, making it a little bit easier to sneak by, skirt by, without the AI glitching on him or something like that. Yeah, he's going to try to take out that egg, but while he's focusing on that egg, I wouldn't be surprised if Hyuk came at him. But Hyuk is pumping his Mutalisk already, going straight from the Mutas off of these three hatcheries, probably going to send them straight to Fantasy's base and not even worry about this vulture. If Fantasy had more than one vulture, you'd probably need to take care of that. But here are the Goliaths, 4 Goliaths out. They don't have the upgrade yet on the Charon boost. Don't have it yet, but they will have it soon, and Fantasy's building turrets all over the place. It is going to be extremely difficult. It is always extremely difficult to fight off Mutalisk harassment when you're going for straight-up mech, not to mention when the bases are this close together, but Fantasy feels he can do this. It is going to be difficult since the Mute is going straight for the base, and let's see how many turrets that Fantasy has amassed. Hyuk's job here is just going to be to try to snipe some SCVs, try to get behind the base, snipe some SCVs. The Charon boost upgrade done. One Mutalisk goes down already, but Hyuk has to take down at least one of these turrets so he can get himself in there. And the big disadvantage of a mech build is you have to keep your entire army together, and Hyuk could take advantage of that if he can get rid of the turrets. The turrets are going to be a major pain for him as he's trying to snipe SCVs behind this natural expansion. Now he's going to skirt inside of the main, try to trick Fantasy, running back and forth between his bases with those Goliaths. And the Hydra is then up already, so it seems that Hyuk is going to transition into a defensive type of build to defend his third base, which he's most likely going to have up soon at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I think he's already morphing it at his 6 o'clock, actually. And another upgrade being researched, most likely mines, because I don't think he's going to go for tanks yet to get the siege out or anything. He won't even need it, really. So probably going to get research mines to protect his front a little bit from the Hydras that are pushing out. Yeah, I think that Hyuk, he takes out the scout here, so I think he is going to go for a dual-pronged strategy of Hydras and Mutas to try to break the front. It is a very powerful combo when focusing in on a straight-up mech build from a Terran like this. A Terran has to stay in their bases, into their basically 2 bases, until they get their tanks. Once they get the tanks, they can surround those with the Goliaths, and the tanks become the main part of the army, the indispensable part of the army. Hyuk trying to sneak inside that main, unsuccessful, can't get in there to snipe anything. But once he has enough mutas, if he takes out the turrets, especially if he can take out those turrets, yeah, Fantasy is going to have a tough time defending, because Hyuk is pumping nothing but mutas right now, just pumping nothing but mutas. Science Facility coming up on the other side for Fantasy. Second Armory just to work on those upgrades a bit more. Strong mech upgrades. Once a mech army is completely upgraded, it's almost impossible to stop. I've seen some Zerg players stop it with the Queen build recently. Well, with Queen builds, actually Queens are pretty much becoming standard in late game CVT these days. So yeah, a recent innovation, but a very, very fun to watch innovation. Doesn't always work out. But let's see if Hyuk can end it before we get to late game. Hyuk is flying around with his mutas to the southern side of this base. Pretty sure he does have 2 control groups worth of mutas now. That's all he's been pumping. And not even any Zerglings to supplement his mutas. Just straight up mutas. Yeah, he does have 2 control groups. Saw his 2 control groups. Oh, he's going up, trying to end the game. Now he's going on top of the Goliaths. Fantasy trying to fall back to his turret line. He's got Hyuk over 3 turrets, trying to take them down, but Hyuk is sniping Goliaths all over the place. Fantasy, in the meantime, sneaking down to the 6 o'clock position for some harassment. Yeah, quite a few vultures down there as well, so I think he might have actually researched vulture speed before anything else. But he's down at the 6 o'clock, sniping things as Hyuk going for the game ender. He still has quite a few Mutalists alive. Fantasy sneaking behind the natural expansion now. He took out quite a few drones at the 6 o'clock, but Fantasy is dwindling inside of his main. He's basically relying on his turrets. He's building more turrets, desperately trying to cling to his turrets and his Goliaths. Look at that Goliath micro, just 2 Goliaths backing off. And I see the Science Vessel. Yeah, the Science Vessel is out. So Hyuk, if he can take this down with a couple of Scourge, he might have this game, because without an Irradiate, I don't think that Fantasy is going to be able to survive. He's doing a pretty good job of microing his Goliaths around, making sure that Hyuk can't focus on, and he's doing some great harassment, by the way. Man, a lot of harassment from Fantasy while all of this is going on. He sniped quite a few drones at the 6 o'clock and the natural expansion. Now Hyuk is coming up with Hydras as well. He's got to watch out for these mines. Oh, man. Oh, mines taking out more troops. And Hyuk's army is just getting weaker and weaker as he's going to try to push the front. It's still going to be a very powerful push. Hyuk is still going to be able to push this front. There is a bunker there. Oh, the Irradiate from the Science Vessel. Hyuk a little bit late to get out the infected Muta. But now Hyuk is trying to push the front. He's going to try to take down this bunker. If he can take down the bunker, it's going to be easier for him. Oh, Fantasy saves it. Saves the bunker. Oh, this might be bad for Hyuk. Hyuk lost a lot of economy while he was committing his troops inside that main, trying to take the game. I have to say, Hyuk was pretty damn close to winning this game. Very close. If he had a couple of Scourge, I think he might have been able to do it. Fantasy's turret placement, I have to say, was excellent as well. Both these guys playing on top of their game today, it seems. But now Hyuk is focused on his ground armies, going for Hydras now instead of Mutas. Because obviously a Mutalist clump would be irradiated, and you'd lose pretty much the entire clump with one single irradiate from a Science Vessel. So he's switching to that ground, and trying to expand all over the place. This is also what a Zerg player needs to do quite frequently when going up against a full mech build. Just expand everywhere, because the Terran has to stay together. They have to attack one base at a time. It's not like dealing with medic and marines when you're being dropped all over the place, bio squads going out in every direction. It's just such a pain to deal with. It's not quite the same thing dealing with mech. You're dealing with a powerful army, but you're dealing with an army that is one single unit. But now Fantasy going to go for some harassment. I think he's going to drop 4 full vultures if this isn't spotted. Hyuk is coming up, though. He has his Hydralis in position here. Oh, he almost takes down that dropship. That was epic star sense from him. Yeah, he might have actually seen that coming somehow. I'm not sure how close the Overlords were to Fantasy's base, but that was just epic timing from Hyuk. And Hyuk has to know that Fantasy is going to try to commit to this drop again. Yeah, he's still kind of patrol moving with his Hydras without patrol moving, manual patrol moving. But now Fantasy has dropped a couple of vultures inside the main, laying mines, and Hyuk forced to run away. Didn't have any kind of defense there whatsoever, so yeah, that's going to be a big hit to his economy. He's already taken several hits. Queens! We got Queens, of course. Mentioning queens earlier. Yeah, queens are out. Queens probably the best possible counter to mech these days, believe it or not. I've seen it work several times. Maybe not recently, but oh, the mines are just ripping up. Hyuk, come on, Hyuk. A move, buddy. Luckily, I think those Hydralisks do have range, so if he attack moves and keeps his Hydralisk together, he'll be able to take care of that. But Fantasy's already floating over with his third base. Floating over, going to try to establish his third base. And Hive coming up now, I see. Hive is coming up. Queens generating energy for the broodlings of the tanks. Okay, this dropship is going to be spotted. Fantasy running right into the Overlord. So that was a bad place to rally point. And now he's trying to get out of there as one single Muta chases down the dropship. That's going to be a sad sight as that Muta dies. But here come the Vultures trying to snipe a few more drones. They get a few. I think about 3 in that attack. But oh man, so Fantasy is establishing a defensive line at his new base up at the 2 o'clock position. And let's see what else Fantasy is up to. Try to go out with it. Oh, the one Muta! Hero Muta! Oh, come on, Muta! Oh, this is going to be so epic. Oh, man. That could have been so sweet. One Muta taking out one dropship. And of course, Fantasy is going to commit to this anyway. Even though there's Scourge all over the place. Fantasy trying to get out of there. He finally loses the dropship, probably only loses one Vulture inside of that dropship, so that actually wasn't that big of a loss for him. I'm sure we'll get out another dropship soon. More hatcheries up for Hyuk. He's trying to get out a huge ground army to back up his queens. Once he goes in with the queens, get the spawn broodling of the tanks, that's when his, Fantasy troops will be ripe for the picking, and he can move in with his Hydras to clean up the rest. Now, he's going to have to be super careful because, yeah, Fantasy does have those 2 armories going, which means he probably has massive upgrades for his mech troops now. I've got to take a look at his upgrades soon. The observers haven't looked at it in a little while here, I think. Or maybe I just haven't been paying attention. But we'll have to check soon to see what the upgrades are. Okay, I see 2-2. We have 2-2 already for Fantasy. 2 armor, 2 attack. And the Hydralisk running into mines again. Luckily, they're keeping together. So, oh man, Hyuk is already grouping up with his queens. It's hard to believe that he would have the energy yet. Come on, Hyuk, be a little more careful. I think that Hyuk is doing some mine clearing. Yeah, he's just moving straight up and down, looking for mines, keeping most of his Hydralisks together. And now I think the queens are ready. I think the queens are ready to do the spawn broodling of those tanks. The queen's forced to back off, though, because Hyuk doesn't have any vision. He needs vision to sneak in and take out the tanks. Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult attack for Hyuk. If he pushes the front, he's got to deal with the mines, first of all. The tanks are going to be in the back, picking at his Hydras. So most of the tanks are going to have to die if he wants to have a successful attack. He has an awful lot of Hydras, huge army for Hyuk. So if he gets about 6 successful broodlings in the middle of the tanks clump, maybe get some spawn broodlings. Uh-oh, I saw the science facility researching. We already have irradiate, so you know what that means. Yep, EMP. For Fantasy, he's going to try to EMP these queens, and I think his upgrade just got done. Coming in right now. I think there might have been an EMP there, not exactly sure, but at the defensive matrix, not too many broodling shots landed, so I think there might have been an EMP there on those queens. Excellent. EMP and TVZ. Never thought I'd see the day, but Fantasy has quite a few tanks left, and he smells the blood in the water, so he's already moving forward, saying to himself, well, it's going to take you a while to get that 150 energy back, so I'm going to destroy everything. He's pushing forward. He's going to have to surround the tanks with his Goliath. Oh, Hyuk, making me nervous, making me go to the edge of my seat with the mines everywhere like that, but let's see if Hyuk has any energy left on those queens to do a broodling attack. I have a feeling probably not, because he isn't attacking yet. Even though he has a massive army, here comes Hyuk. He's coming in right now. I saw the EMP. That was an EMP from Fantasy. The queens can do nothing. Oh, this is going to be a failed attack. I'm surprised that Hyuk committed to this anyway. He had quite a few reinforcements, so if Hyuk would have gotten the the spawn broodlings of those tanks, I think this might have been Hyuk's game again. It's a nice back and forth game from these two, because he just has such a massive Hydra army. He probably would have been able to clean that up, but now he's got to back off a little bit and wait again. Just got to wait until he has his energy up. Luckily, it looks like he keeps resupplying his queens as they go down. He keeps pumping more queens, so he's got to have plenty of queens to go in for the spawn broodling attack. More queens coming in, few spawn broodlings. So Hyuk is actually in a good position here. He is getting the pincer attack. Quite a few Hydras left, so this is going to put Fantasy on the back foot, losing a lot of tanks over here. The queens moving forward. I'm not sure if they have any more energy for the spawn broodlings or not, but Hyuk having to deal with the minefield again, but he is doing a good job of sniping while he's moving his Hydras at the front. So that was actually a nice attack from Hyuk, nice pincer attack, and Fantasy is going to be on the defensive. Fantasy has 4 bases, though, to Hyuk's 4. I mean, as a Zerg player, you don't want to ever be tied in bases with the Terran. You always want to be over the Terran and the number of bases, so Hyuk, the reason he has so many Hydras is because he's not really expanding as much as a Zerg normally would against a mech build. But he does have a very substantial army, so if he resources drop or something, I think he could lock Fantasy down. I mean, dropping that many Hydras inside the main, that would be a nightmare. And it would keep Fantasy inside of his main and not attacking, and that would give Hyuk some time to expand again. But oh, mines! Mines have taken out quite a few Hydras in this game now. So Hyuk can't be feeling too good about that, but he still has a pretty substantial army. He's grouping up inside the middle, and he's probably going to go for a base soon. He was trying to go for that outside mineral-only base that Fantasy has over there behind his main. But Fantasy just doing some epic harassment in this game. It's like a vultures all over the place, laying mines. Let's see if Hyuk is paying attention, and his Hydras don't die to mines or anything. Oh, man. Oh, okay, the mines go down. Mines always make me nervous in ZVT, but it seems that Hyuk will be able to mine at that base again. His outside mineral only. But as I said, Hyuk really needs to take a base soon. He's working on his army. He's just going all army. He has a huge red clump in the middle, so he wants to end it soon. He has queens out regenerating energy, so he should have enough energy for a bunch of more broodling attacks soon. So he's trying to end it right now from his 4 bases. Good luck, Hyuk! So Hyuk is grouped up with everything, and he is going to attack soon. As soon as he has energy on the queens, he's going to attack, and this is going to be epic, actually. Hyuk's been focusing so much on his ground army. He is just going to push with a huge amount of troops. And Fantasy is doing the smart thing by playing defensively like this, laying mines everywhere. Look at that minefield. It's going to be a nightmare to break for Hyuk. He's pushing up forward anyway for some reason, losing a bunch of Hydras. The scan of the queens, so Fantasy knows where the queens are, and probably going to be ready with another EMP just in case those queens come forward. I do hope that EMP becomes the standard ZVT. That's just hilarious to watch. But Fantasy, look at those tanks. The tanks have to go down to broodlings if Hyuk wants to go any further, because there's no other way he's going to be able to break that tank line unless he has broodlings. Trying to push the front a little bit, but he missed his timing a little. Coming forward, EMP again on the queens. I think one queen got off one broodling shot, but the freaking EMP saves it for Fantasy. And because he EMP'd all those queens, he basically rendered them useless. They have to wait for like freaking 15 minutes to get up their energy again. So Fantasy is probably going to push soon. Yeah, he unsieged all of his tanks. So now he's going to push forward. Oh, the death march. And there's really not much that Hyuk will be able to do about this. He is on 4 bases still, almost probably going to start to mine out soon enough. Oh, ridiculous. So Hyuk is pushing forward. If he can get in there, he has to get in close to the tanks. But it's proving so difficult. The tanks D-Matrix at the front, just in case from Fantasy. The Queen's coming in. But yeah, look at this. Just a sea of blood as Fantasy pushes forward with his sea of tanks. Sea of tanks equals sea of blood. Wow. So there's the sigh from Hyuk. Yeah, I have to say that Hyuk was very close to winning at a couple of points in this game, but it doesn't seem that he's going to be able to do it now. I don't see a way they can do this. He has quite a few Hydras left, but they just can't get close with the tanks grouped up as they are. Wow. So everything goes down there again, and Hyuk is just going to be banging his head against a wall because there's no way he can get his 5th base now with Fantasy inching forward, lurching forward with his tank army. That's a lot of tanks. That is a lot of tanks. He has a couple of Goliaths left just in case Hyuk should go for tech switch or anything. Back into mutas, but attempted harassment. That was almost a very nice Zergling mind drag into that grouping of SCVs, but not quite. Got a couple of SCVs there with the mind drag, but now Fantasy pushing forward. A moving with his tanks. That's it. GG from Hyuk. Deja vu all over again. So Fantasy taking game 1 and putting Hyuk on the back foot. Yeah, all Fantasy has to do is win one more game and he's into the semifinals. Crazy. Okay guys, let's move on to the second set.